Bienvenidos, welcome back. Joe and I are already enjoying each other's company, and we hope you can too. For those of you who don't know, this is JCM Byrne, author of The Hybrid Helix. You should go and buy every single one of his books right now. The real number is 16 times. If you buy each book 16 times, it's lucky, right? It's numerically lucky. And
unlock the secret ending.
Yeah. I guarantee you, if you take a picture of 16 of Joe's books stacked one by another, Joe will send you some kind of secret.
I'll tell you how the series ends. I'll send you a DM. This is the final scene.
So here's the deal with Hyperion.
Yeah. Let's see. I wonder if that would work. If only that would work on Rothfuss. Maybe we all contributed to a charity of his.
Dude, they paid Rothfuss and he still didn't do it. Like you thought they could shame him into it, right? It's like World Builders matters so much to him, and it's just like, nah, don't care, whatever.
I somewhat regret taking shots at the guy, but then I can't stop myself. Write a damn book.
I agree, especially for something that I love so much, much.
Name of the Wind was really good.
I loved it.
Really?
Loved it. Like, it's the reason I started reading fantasy again.
Oh, see, okay. So it meant more to you than it did to me. That was not my experience. I liked it a lot, but it wasn't in that.
To me, that
I was only away from reading fantasy for like 2 years. It was after college, after grad school, and I was like, I'm like pursuing a PhD in philosophy. I should read real literature, and it took 2 years where I was reading like literary books. And then at some point I said, I really prefer books where guys have soul drinking swords. So I went back to like, I don't even know what I started back on, but I'm like, I want to go back to the comic book store, and like I did.
Yeah.
And that was it. I had my 2 year, and it wasn't 2 years of only literature, but primarily I felt like I'd grown up. I fell into the trap, like I'm a grown up now.
I don't even read that stuff anymore.
I should read like Updike. And I did.
Updike. That's sure. Let's just jump to. I would say James Clavell, but James Clavell is actually good.
No, I don't think of James Clavell as really literary. I feel like real literary, the stuff that in my mind I should have been reading at that point couldn't be as entertaining as James Clavell.
Right.
It had
Michener.
Yeah, I've told you my fun versus good theory.
Yeah. Would you like to?
So Clavell is too much fun. To in my mind, to fall in the literary category. I'm not saying he's not good, but he's more fun than good. Anyway.
Yeah, we're not allowed to have fun.
Yeah, well, not if you're literary. I mean, that was how I could talk myself into it. It didn't last that long. I went back to comic books. I was like, thank God, give me the X-Men, even bad X-Men.
My argument for comic books was I learned as many new words and concepts from comic books as I did from reading books. Hey, Andrew.
Hey, Andrew. How you doing?
The reason I know what a Pyrrhic victory is not because of some great work of literature. It's because of X-Men 217.
Yeah, sure. I know a lot of people who develop literacy through comics, like younger people, where they would read a Hulk where they wouldn't read like Captain Underpants or whatever, the people were trying to give them, thing. And yeah. Oh yeah. You went scuba diving. You had the good vacation.
Oh, Andrew, he's so nice.
Yes.
How was vacation? Okay, so I'll just go ahead and give you the whole thing. My uncle died, and my uncle and my other uncle had given Will, my son, a scuba diving complete lesson to get his certification for his birthday. And my response to that was, okay, let's all go scuba diving together. And the uncle who died wasn't able to go because his health was failing at that point. And he's like, I probably shouldn't go. But the other uncle could. My mom could. So the week after my uncle died, his brother and his sister were with us in Mexico and were together. And that worked out wonderfully. because they got a chance to just be together and hang out in a nice, pleasant environment, and recollect as much as they wanted to or as little as they wanted to, given the day. And in the meantime, we're going underwater and doing adventures and having a bunch of fun. And my kid, we saw sharks and we saw rays and we saw sea turtles and we saw everything you wanted to see. We saw it.
That sounds fantastic. Wow.
Yeah. There's like, so not vacation. I had a good time. I have a good relationship with my family. So that helps a lot. Oh, and thank you very much, Andrew. I appreciate it. He was an awesome dude, and he couldn't have gone out in a better way. So, given that death is the end for all of us, there are a lot worse ways to go. All right, now that we brought that entirely down, So Joe and I read Red Rising together, a couple months ago, and we decided, okay, it's time to go again. And he and I have had a couple of conversations. So, like, Joe, what is your experience with the first half? Hey, did you finish the first half? Did you finish?
I did. I finished it like an hour ago, but I only had like chapter 24. Like, okay. I was almost done like the other night. And I think my experience was better than yours.
Oh yeah,
because you seemed to really dislike it, and I was. My big criticism of this, I think, is very similar to my criticism of the first book. Is that it's the craft is sort of obvious. Like I can tell what he's trying to do. It's too transparent, right? It's
I'm with you.
And I don't hate that, right? You like, it bothered. Well, something about it bothered you. You can tell us what bothered. Like it did make me hate the book, but I also didn't feel, at least the first half, it had very few moments that I found truly like inspiring, right? And that doesn't mean they won't be in the second half. But like we were talking about Red Rising, there were things that I like. To me, there's always like with these action stories, it's like main character has a problem, like main character or some characters have to solve the problem. Can you give me something that feels clever or inventive or interesting about the way they solve the problem? Right? That's what I'm looking for in an action story.
Yeah.
But otherwise, it's just
I punched harder than the other guy, and I win.
It's the tug of war problem. Like, I'm just stronger than you. I win the tug of war. But if you could, that's boring, because then the hero's just a bully in effect. I'm just stronger than the other guy. I won. But give me some clever stratagem. And there wasn't a ton of that in the first half of this book.
This makes me laugh.
Well, if he does, he doesn't hate it all publicly. He hides it. As men need to.
I tell you what I do, what I love, right? And some of the stuff gets to, oh yeah, I really enjoyed that. But at the end of the day, Darrow has a great superpower. It's called plot armor. So I want to talk about the first part with you.
Yeah.
So you and I had a little bit of discussion about this. Okay, we're back with Darrow, and he's in space, and he's got a spaceship, and he's fighting against other guys, and he's really good at it. Right? Okay, cool. I'm down with you. This is awesome. We got a space battle going on, and then he loses. Okay, he gets the rug pulled out from under him, and oh crap. Now, I really like the scene where he's like, screw it. I'm going to torpedo myself into the bad guys to win. And they shut him down and don't let him do it because he's going to kill himself doing it. Probably. Awesome, cool, wonderful, fantastic. From that point on in the book, I just got more and more depressed. Because it was like, number one, you suck. You're not part of the house anymore. And we're just going to beat you up in a locker room. Oh, okay. And then we come out of that
as a compensation.
What?
For that?
What'd you say?
You get a golden shower as a compensation. Hope you're into
it. Yeah, that's apparently Pierce Brown was pissed on at some point in middle school and just needs to have that for all of his characters. This
happens too often in this series, and you know what it is? It's it's what he does when characters, given the setting and given the dynamics of the social setting, they should have been raped. That is what guys like that do in the real world as a show of dominance.
Yeah.
They beat you up in the locker room, you get sexually assaulted in one way or another, and the closest Pierce Brown's going to come is having them get peed on. Now, I don't want to read a rape scene either, right? Don't get me wrong. Like I'm not down for that, right? But that's what he's that's what he's like playing at.
Yeah.
Well,
and it's kind of like we were talking about Clavel, right? It's that Shogun thing. It's this ultimate show of disrespect. I'm just going to pee on the peon, and off we go. And what was it? Ryan had it's an iron rain. So okay. My good guy is getting beat up. He's knocked out. I get it. We need to knock him out of his position because we rose him up too high last time. Calm it down a little bit. Knock him down a couple of pegs. And then after that point, I just felt like I was a pawn on a chessboard and I was getting moved around to each new section of the chessboard. It's like, oh, and here's a rook, and this is what a rook can do, and this is a queen, and this is what a queen can do. And I had no emotional connection with anything. And I told you this. I didn't remember which characters I was supposed to remember and which ones were new. And I couldn't really tell the difference between. So this is where I shut up and listen to you.
No, I feel like we needed. Okay, so there's this thing. Steve Perry was an author I love, but kind of a hack, kind of a what's a pulpy writer.
Yeah. Okay.
One of my favorites, but I've read something he wrote about how to write, and he was like, whenever you have a character, you want to give them some, like, I think it was Steve Perry, some kind of clue that so you remember them, like they limp and they always drag their shoe along the ground. So
right. She's got a white streak in her hair.
Yeah, and then you tie, and then I think in your memory you tie the limp to whatever that character does, and it's easier when they come back, and that works better than names.
Yeah,
names. And I swear to God, I read this whole half of this book, and I just now went onto the wiki and looked up who the hell Quinn was because I could not remember.
Okay, so let's jump ahead. And I'll cover the middle space in the middle bit, but like last night I read, and Quinn died. And my only reaction was, thank God, one less person I have to keep track of.
and that's what I do when people introduce to us. So it's a wash. Like, please, like, trim down the cast a little or kill more people. The scene where, like what you were saying, like the scene where he was getting beaten up by the whatever family. And there were just like 7 of them. And I'm just like, who the hell are these people? And I could not remember who these people were. And I'm sure we've been introduced to them, but not in enough depth for me. Maybe I'm just old. I don't know, but not enough depth for me.
I feel like, and it goes back to that chess piece thing, right? Yeah. I feel like he wanted to knock Dara down a couple of pegs, then reintroduce us to Andronicus, House Andronicus, whatever it is. House A and House B is really what I've got to get lined up with.
Yeah.
And then he reintroduces us to House B. And then what? We don't have enough people that have been introduced, so let's reintroduce Ares, right? On this kind of, we're going to blow up this guy who's not your friend, who you're also plotting with, who's also now somehow in charge of this giant media empire. Hey, the Jackal's been busy. So, like, all through that section, all through one, I lacked a place to emotionally tie in, and it made it really friggin' hard for me. And then we got to the end of one, and it was like, Darrow says, screw it, right? He's like, nobody's plans are going to work out. This is all crap. The Sons of Ares don't know what they're doing. I've got a plan, and I'm going to take over. No, right? At that point, I was like, oh, cool. Yes, let's do that.
Yeah. He seemed to... And you get it, right? Like Brown wants you on an emotional arc, right? So he makes Darrow kind of He lacks agency in most of part one, or where he has agency, it fails.
Yeah.
Right? And the idea is like he's going to go from having a lack of agency to sort of taking charge and like emerging, I'm sure emerging on some level victorious, I suspect, at the end of the book. I don't know. No one give it away. Neither of us have read the second half.
Yeah.
So
Although I'm kind of expecting this one to end badly because it's the middle of the three. So on a storytelling arc, usually, the end of the second act is your darkest point. So
I'm not, but we'll see. This is a good thing. I'm expecting him to have another one of these stepping stone triumphs.
Right. Well, we'll do a $10 bet.
Okay. Sounds good. $10 says Golden Sun ends on an up note for Darrow.
Right. $10 says Mustang dies.
Yeah. Well, that's another part of the thing, right? Mustang is banging his sworn enemy. It's like, come on, man. Like,
man. Come on, man.
It's like just he just push all the buttons you can push, and
okay. So let's talk about that. I felt like at the end of one, he was like, I'm doing all this to kind of bring you back to where we were in the beginning and what the whole motivation for this is and who he's really a red. And during the whole introduction of, oh, guess what? It wasn't just Io that died. She was pregnant. That to me felt like the cheapest trick.
Yeah. I forgot about that until you just said it.
Right? It was just like I need a way to hook them back into the way that they felt at the beginning of the first book. I know what I'll do. I'll add a baby that's dead. And I feel I just wish he would have spent more time, I don't know, helping me get there another way. And here's the thing, I feel really, really crappy about it because this book is loved, and I am trying so hard to figure out how that works. Now, I'll tell you, by the end of part 2, I'm in. Like the last 3 chapters of Act 2, we get rid of all the political maneuverings, and it's just like, let's go. Okay, cool. I'm there for it. So
you got a pet obsidian who everyone's going to love.
Oh yeah, we got our new Pax Telemachus.
Yes, but better and bigger.
Yeah.
Well, I'm not really clear on why the Obsidians aren't in charge, given the fact that Gold settles so much of what they settle with like fisticuffs. I'm not sure why the Obsidians aren't running things, but I'll chalk that up to iffy world building.
I love Donna so much. Ragnar! You could just hear her screaming it.
Yeah. No, he seems great.
And there's Ryan as well.
Yeah, he's the idea of like the biggest, nastiest obsidian being like loyal to you. I mean, Darrow's got to have pieces, but that's part of like, okay, so Darrow's doing this. If he's leveraging sort of anti-gold sentiment among the low castes to strengthen his position on the gold, to further his long-term, like that is very consistent with the plan. Like that seems like a very smart way to get what he wants. That strikes me as some cleverness.
Yes,
you're not super clever, but very good. But there's not enough of that in the first half.
You say you want a revolution,
and then it really bothers me that he torpedoes himself right into the main deck of this ship. And I'm like, if there wasn't like a defense against this, why aren't they just launching torpedoes into the main decks of these ships without people in them? That seems like a really good way to F up your enemy.
Joe, I love you. And that is one of the reasons I love you right there. You're like, well, if this works, then why wouldn't this work? And you're absolutely right. It's like, why would we not just explode their command decks? I
mean, we have this hunk of metal that can get into their, like, it blew out the window and like suffocated half the crew, and like, great, start with that. Don't stick a person in there. Just put in like a bag of like, laundry, whatever you need. Right? Just shoot it at them.
All you got to do is break the window.
And there's this sense where it would probably have slowed down the book too much, but I always want a little more setup to convince me that like the tactics and the strategies used in these combat scenes are actually clever.
Okay.
It's like imagine watching people play like a board game, but you don't really know the rules, like chess, right? If you don't know the rules, watching people move things around, and then one guy knocks over his king and says, "You're not going to understand. You're not going to appreciate the brilliance of either player.
Right.
You don't know the rules of chess."
Oh, he won. I don't understand how he won or why
Right.
that was.
Why was that move good? I don't even know. Why did that not? You just. But here, I don't know that I could have done it better, because I think like setting up all the rules and like the dynamics and like the trade-offs of like the different kinds of things ships can do would have just taken a lot of pages.
Man.
And military sci-fi people might have liked it, but that's not the same market that Brown was.
Okay, so let me let me hit the crux of the problem for me.
Go for it.
Which is, we get to part 2, and this kind of addresses what you just said.
Yeah.
We get to part 2. He says, I'm going to screw everything up. I'm going to chop off Cassius's arm. I'm going to put her in a position where she ought to let the duel finish. She doesn't let the duel finish. She shows her preference. And I think, okay, it's on. We finally arrived at our Donkey Kong moment. And it's not on, because now I got to kidnap Darrow and drag him to Claire de Lune. I keep calling her Claire de Lune. Octavia de Lune.
Yeah.
You know, and now we got to have this whole other conversation about the scheming and this. And then I got to do a Gom Jabbar box where if he lies, he's going to get stung. And another Joe moment where I was waiting for something to happen that was really clever during the lie sequence, where he tells a truth, but it's a half truth, so he doesn't get stung by this. And I didn't feel like that happened. And then we get another chapter where we keep doing the same thing. And I got to tell you, man, all the scheming, by the time we reached the chapter after the Gom Jabbar, my eyes were completely glazed over. That was the moment when I texted you and I said, I think I hate this book.
Yeah.
So I'm with you. I would have taken some military strategy, and this is the way things work, over all of that.
See, I thought the Gom Jabbar wasn't as bad as all that, because he did get her. He trapped the Empress, whatever her name is, Octavia.
She was overconfident.
He got her to say, if you tell the truth here, then Mustang's going to know that you're betraying her. And if you don't, you get stung by the stupid thing, right? So he did manage, and that was sort of clever, right? There was some thinking there.
You're right.
And I needed, and maybe we'll get it later. Ryan says you get the answer to that in book 3. I don't know what he's talking about. I'm sure one of these things. So how does he beat Cassius? He beats Cassius not because he does something clever. Is that me?
What?
I'm hearing it echo.
Hello.
Sorry. So he gets I forgot what I was talking about.
How does he beat Cassius?
He beats Cassius because he had a better trainer, right? We got the mythical swordsman to
Are you getting a significant echo?
I'm getting, reduce my background noise. It's better now. Oh, mostly gone.
Okay.
I fixed this, change the setting. Okay. So he got the genius trainer to train him, right? But like how? Are we going to get a story about that later? If we do, then that might retroactively make it okay. But you needed one of these classics, right? Where you the Kung Fu master and you do something that had them accept you as their thing.
Okay, did it drive you absolutely crazy that the entire time it's like, oh, he can't win with a razor, oh, he can't win with a razor, oh, he can't win with a razor, oh, just kidding, I've been trained by the greatest razor master in the world, by the way, while no one was looking. And like, he didn't even give us a hint. Sorry, I was really frustrated, and I really, really, really wanted to like this book a lot. And I'm starting to get there, but I got it. That I'm secretly the best swordsman in the world because I've been training and no one knows about it, including the reader, drove me up a wall.
Yeah. I wish he had done the classic Kung Fu story thing where we had a scene where he goes to approach the master. The guy says, no, I won't train you. And like, no, you have to train me. And then he does something clever to win him over. Like treats his servants really nicely where another gold wouldn't. And the guy goes, "Oh, you're not like these other golds I hate. I will take you under my wing." Does some red thing that makes the guy think you're different than these other dudes, right? Something. And instead, we don't get that scene. And maybe that's in a different book. Like maybe that's coming, or maybe the second half of this book we'll find out. But it wasn't enough. It was like, oh look, it felt I don't. Deus Ex Machina is not the right word, but almost.
Almost. It's definitely like Clark Kent taking off his glasses. It's just like, hey, guess what? I'm secretly Superman.
Yeah. But I didn't hate any of it. I'm just being critical because I didn't love that stuff either. It didn't drive me crazy, but I see what you mean about I definitely understand. Like there was a lot of Darrow just being pushed around the board,
mm-hmm.
And not having agency. But
yeah, and a lot of times setting up the political positioning of everybody to what I thought was not great, because I was lacking that emotional investment that I had with EO in the beginning, and this terrible situation that he was in the beginning. Like by the end of Act 1 in the first book, I was completely invested. By the end of Act 2 in the first book, I was like, oh wow, this is really interesting. What's going to happen?
Yeah.
Whereas here I felt like I was just being dragged behind the boat.
I think he's trying to put you in this, give you those same feelings by having I feel like he was giving you. Is it first person POV? No, it's not. It's close third, isn't it?
Oh no, it's first person POV.
Jeez.
Darrow is narrating the story.
We're not getting much of his thoughts though.
No, he really does skip through thoughts and move straight through to action, which is fine and dandy. It's just I get caught up in the political machinations and I lose track in the characters, and I feel like when Severo finally shows up, right? I was at my lowest point of not caring at all. Right. And Severo showed up, and I was just like, I don't care that Severo's here. I'm in trouble.
Yeah.
Right. And then it was immediately after that where things started to pick up, because the objective became clear. It was like, okay, we're going to save House Augustus from this betrayal.
Right.
And from that point on, it was just like, okay, let's go and move.
And that's part of the problem, right? He needs us to want and be invested in House Augustus being okay, but we hate House Augustus.
Can't do it.
That didn't work for me because they're the ones who killed EO.
Yeah,
and that's where it lost me, right? I feel like I wonder why he didn't have them in another house to which we could bond more easily. So first book, you hate the Golds, but you don't hate the Golds who are loyal to Darrow because they didn't do anything bad because they're kids.
Yeah.
You can root for Severo.
Yes.
Right? In Red Rising, you can root for Severo because he's a Gold, but he didn't kill you, right? He's a Gold who, as far as we know, has always been very nice to his slaves. We have no idea what the hell. So we can.
And he makes a real point with Severo throughout, for Severo to reject his father over and over and over again, which is kind of rejecting his status as a Gold, which makes things all set up for my favorite part of this book so far, which is when Severo does the reveal. Sorry, go ahead.
The first third of this book is trying to make us transfer and feel the same way about House Augustus, and that's not going to work. That didn't work for me.
No.
Because what's his name? The chief literally is the guy who killed Leo. Or ordered it or something. I forget.
Yeah. Out of anybody that needs to die, he's the one.
Sun Eater is much better written.
Sorry, Zen is saying Sun Eater is much better written, in my opinion, but it doesn't give you the kind of full throttle action movie story Red Rising does. So I like both for different reasons, but Sun Eater is better.
Sun Eater is on my TBR. Hopefully this year.
I've talked with Rocchio, I don't know, 2-3 times at this point. When you get to it, I'll read it with you because I'm looking forward to it.
You said you've talked to Rockio?
Mm-hmm.
Like on your channel?
Yeah, with Mike a couple of times.
I think I missed that. I have to
And
check.
he's super smart, man. You would love him. You would absolutely love talking to him because he really thinks deeply about what he's doing and where the story's going. You'd enjoy it.
I've seen him interviewed. He seems like a bright guy. No, I've seen him interviewed at least a couple times. I mean, I don't share his passion for Roman stuff.
No,
It's okay.
no, he's more of a history buff than I want to be. But I like seeing that translated.
No, that's cool. That's cool. That's good stuff. I mean, it's definitely, like I said, the books are on my list. Okay. So we both had a problem where we didn't care about the politics. And I think a large part of that, like remember when Octavia had him, like tried to like recruit him?
Yeah.
And I was like all on board. I'm like, switch, dude.
Switch. Let's go.
Let's go take over her thing from the inside. Like, be loyal to her because what's his name wasn't loyal to you. So why not? And then he didn't. And I was like, all right. I just didn't care. I was like, no, you're going to save Augustus, but you could have been working for the queen. Okay. Because I'm not invested in Augustus. Like, I guess his friends are there, and which is valid.
It is valid. Well, I'll tell you what I like is, as much as I hated it, and I hate to confess that I hated it, but where he got me to, I'm very excited about. Because we've proved that the chief of the society is a liar and a fraud. And we've kind of started this rebellion against them using the house that we're a part of as kind of our pawn. And then the great thing that I'm really excited about is using the lower colors as being part of that, which to me is fertile ground for fantastic storytelling with great emotions and people rising up and, being able to become more than the society would have let them be otherwise. Very excited about that.
Well, in very broad strokes, that's what I was expecting after reading Red Rising. Leverage the lower castes that are sort of taken for granted by the Colts.
Mm-hmm.
That are oppressed and and we saw it before. We saw it, like, that's Darrow's shtick, right? He is the Gold who's got leadership qualities, but generally speaking, he's nicer to his underlings, and that's what gets him in their loyalty.
Yes.
Not always.
20 lashes, 25 lashes.
Yeah. Well, that was what taking the lashes. What I thought the great moment in Red Rising. That was the moment of brilliance. I don't know if there's a moment of brilliance in this one, just getting the ship and going, hey, I'm opening all the armories, and if you take the guns, I'll let you kill all the Golds you want. Like, no charge, first one's free.
We got 60 on the ship,
and there's 20,000 of you, and there's guns, so you figure it out. And that was good. It wasn't brilliant, but it was good. Good stuff. But
it was emotionally satisfying.
It was, but that's it. I think for his victory to be emotionally satisfying, it's going to have to be more like that.
Yeah.
And I'm sure it will. I mean, well, I'm not sure, but I'm pretty sure that it will be. So, we'll see. I'm still reading. So at least the first trilogy.
Oh yeah.
I'll keep reading.
Yeah, I'm definitely heading through the entire trilogy just to see where it winds up, and whatever they say about the Sons of Ares stuff that comes after it is mixed. And okay, great. And I need to move on to other stuff.
Yeah.
Perhaps Rockio.
And then what did you think of the Ares, the Sons of Ares going sort of off the rails in the background?
So it was another one of those moments where I was like, okay, now let's reintroduce faction number 4. Right. And it was already disappointing to me that we were doing that. And then it was super disappointing that they were a bunch of greaseballs with no plan that was better than let's blow people up.
Blow it up. Let God sort it out.
Yeah, exactly. It's just we're a terrorist movement now. And that was really just unsatisfying. However, I will put up with that unsatisfying, knowing that later on I get, hey, these guys are not part of what we're doing anymore. Hey, guess what? We really do have a plan, and like Dancer isn't dead, and I can't remember who the other Ares person was, but that was encouraging to go, okay, this thing hasn't completely fallen apart. Because at that point, it would have felt like he was so on his own. It's like, what? He's got to get help from somewhere.
That's what's transparent about it, right? You can see, like Darrow's being put in a bad. He's literally beaten up. He's lost all his allies. His friends are on, Severo's in Pluto. His girlfriend is banging his enemy, right?
Everything sucks as much as it can.
Everything sucks, and he doesn't even seem to have a plan or a goal really, other than, yeah, maybe I'll blow everything up too. And I think that's meant to be one of the low points of the thing, with him going into the thing like, yeah, screw it, I'll blow everything up. And it's like, and then I'm assuming that plan is to have that be the low point of the emotional arc, and things will pick up from there, and we'll enjoy the rest of the book more.
Yeah.
So it's always this question as a writer and as a reader, like, are those moments too much? Right? And clearly, probably for most people, it might have been annoying, but not too much. Most people did not DNF Golden Sun in the first third. The fact that the books have sold a bazillion copies.
Yeah.
So it's okay. I didn't love it, but that's what I mean by the transparency, right? You can see that that's what Brown is building.
Right.
And
as a storyteller, you can see the bones.
The bones are too obvious. Like the baby thing was just like, come on, man. Yeah, I forgot about that until you just mentioned it. Like, I'd read it, but then I was like, yeah, whatever.
It was a little cringy.
And then Quinn to me is she's the refrigerator of the series.
What is that?
Do you know the expression fridging in storytelling?
Take a character and kind of put him away for a little while.
Okay. This term was coined by Gail Simone, who was a comic book writer, very, very, very highly regarded comic book writer. There was a Green Lantern story, I forget when, where this main character had a girlfriend, and the girlfriend had no real personality, but at some point the bad guy killed her, chopped her up, and left a piece of her body in his refrigerator for him to come home and find. And
the only purpose of the character is to get killed.
And so the woman specifically was getting hurt or killed in order to motivate the main MC,
which is what EO is.
But EO, I'll give them EO because she's active. By singing the song, she is sacrificing herself to motivate, maybe in a way to motivate Darrow, but she is not simply the victim of the storyteller to motivate Darrow.
Okay, I'm with you.
Mind your own business and been raped and killed by a gold, and that motivated Darrow, then yes, she's being fridged.
Yeah.
But she's choosing that. So I'm not going to call that fridging. Gail Simone can disagree with me. I don't know what Gail would say.
Well, I don't think she would, because I think you're right, because the song itself is the motivator for everything, as far as I know.
But Quinn, it seems, is constantly getting harmed just so the men around her have a reason to go and storm into action. And then she's killed, and it's like more of just like, it's unimportant except that it's going to piss off Severo and the other guy, Rogue, right? That they're going to it's going to motivate them. So she died so that they could have their own shit. Like, it's like that was her purpose, was to get captured and beaten up and then eventually killed, so the men around her could go out for revenge.
Yes.
Which is fridging. That's kind of fridging, right? So she's been fridged, but she's been fridged multiple times because she didn't get killed the first time. She just had an ear cut off and then got beaten up. But so poor Quinn got fridged in parts.
She got fridged a little in book 1. She gets fridged a little in book 2. Well, we could probably bring her back to life so she could get fridged again in book 3.
I don't. Yeah, we'll see. I don't think they do, because I read in the wiki because I was trying to figure out who she was, and they didn't say anything about her coming back to life. But I didn't read the whole wiki, so I don't know. I mean, it wasn't the worst thing in the world, right? Like it's not the worst thing in the world, but it was not the best either.
Not the best either. Well, and at that point, I was not buying in to any of the characters at all, right? Because I just felt like, okay, I'm just following pieces around a chessboard. And then, my friend, the turn. Because, like I said, the moment that I'm like, okay, they've gone in and they've got the Andromeduses out of out of this swimming pool that they're hiding in. Who cares? And okay, let's get out of here. And from that moment forward, it felt really good because it felt like the old days where we've got a crew working together toward this absolute finite goal. We've thrown off all of the political junk and we're just going to have some rock'em sock'em robots that I'm starting to feel something about.
Well, they're giving him stuff back. They're giving him back Severo. They give him back Mustang and parts.
Mm-hmm.
First, we get a sense Mustang's on his side because she called Severo back. And then she's all the way back on his side after the conversation at the very end in what I think chapter 23 or 24.
Yeah.
She goes, no, I was only banging your enemy to like subvert him as, whatever. Not in those words, but yeah, that's basically
it's just what all your girlfriends tell you, really.
What if my wife cheats on me? I want her to come up with a story like that. That's
Well, I was only banging him really just to help you.
To help you further your career. Honey, I don't work with that guy. Well, you never know. I'm a genius. You don't understand my genius. I'm the smartest person you know. Like, okay, all right. Can't argue with that. So, but then, they're giving him the pieces back, and they give him a Ragnar, and they give him a Severo back, and the Howlers, and they give him some agency.
Yeah.
What's the first moment of true agency for Darrow in this book is choosing to save the Augustus
family
and leave Octavia.
Yeah.
Right. Everything up there, he just feels like he's sleepwalking through everything.
Yeah.
He's doing what he has to in the moment. I mean, it is a moment of agency where he chooses not to blow up the Red Wedding.
Right.
The banquet.
Yeah.
And that's
Michaela.
That's agency, but not doing anything is not the most satisfying kind of agency.
No.
Like, it's agency, but it's like he just didn't do the thing.
And I can't tell you from an emotional perspective how satisfying it was for him to have agency to do the thing that he was trying to do at the very beginning, and they took that opportunity away from him by saying, you can't fire yourself in a torpedo at a bridge deck.
I like that, but I wish it hadn't been the same thing. You found it satisfying. It kind of annoyed me that he did it. They know he wanted to do it before, and no one was prepared for it. That, I get what you're saying. Like, he wanted to snatch victory from the jaws of defeat with this clever move, and they just cockblocked him, right?
Mm-hmm.
Beginning, very opening scene, and then he gets to do it later and it works. That is satisfying. It didn't work for me as well as it should have because they should have been prepared.
Right. Well, which goes along with your whole "why are you allowing torpedoes into the bridge in the first place" theory.
This is how all ship combat should just be firing torpedoes at other ships, unless someone comes up with a defense against torpedoes through the bridge window. And at that point, you can find another strategy. But it's like the like in football, right? If a run up the middle gets you 5 yards every carry, you never pass the ball.
That's right.
Just run the ball up the middle every time, and you win the game. Anyway.
So I got to tell you, the happiest thing for me in the whole book so far, and I felt was a wonderful way to end part 2. And like, really, he should not have been able to bring me back from the brink, because I genuinely was just like completely glazed over. I don't care about any of the characters. I don't care what's going on.
Yeah.
And then he says, Severo comes to him and says, "Tell me who sent you here."
Yeah, that was good. Yeah,
that whole dialogue and the way that it was so Severo, and it was just like, no, it was this person. No, it wasn't. Well, it was this person. No, it wasn't. If you lie to me a third time, I will leave you forever. I loved that.
It was a really good, it was really good dialogue. It was really good dialogue, and or it was a really good, like, the way the dialogue went.
Mm-hmm.
The actual words were fine, but the way it went, and it was giving him something he hasn't had in a book and a half. Right.
Which is
an actual, like, ally.
An actual partner, which I didn't think I didn't really think that we would get to. Right? No. I thought that all of the Golds would always be the enemy no matter what. And if he revealed who he really was, they'd kill him. And the fact that
100%.
you're able to take Severo and not win him over. He is given as a gift.
Yeah.
Right. And it's not anything that Darrow did, which isn't a lack of agency on my part, but it's like finally the Brotherhood is doing so. The Sons of Ares are doing something for him to help. There's the one moment where it's just like, oh my gosh, thank you.
He's allowed to catch a break, right? That's what this was. This was a break, and it was a good break. It was a good break.
Yeah.
And it takes away some of this impending feeling like all these people are loyal to him because of a lie.
Yeah.
Right. And it's like, it's a lie and a good cause. But there's a part of me that's like, and then I wonder, and I don't know, and I don't want to bet more $10 more on this because I really don't know. But I'm really interested to see if he ends up converting Mustang, or if she comes over to it, or something. So, at some point, he's got to sort of win, and at some point along that way, Mustang has to realize what he's doing, and at some point, she's going to have a reaction to that.
Yeah,
and I can totally see it going either way.
Mm-hmm.
Like that, this is the break between them that will never heal, and he chooses revolution over the love of his second love of his life, and that's
right.
That was a perfectly valid narrative choice. Or she sort of at some point goes to him, we just need to overthrow this caste bullshit. Are you with me? And he goes, honey, I'm ahead of you. I've been ahead of you for a book and a half.
Right.
Actually, I'm a red. And that would be also narratively satisfying in a different way if she gets there smartly enough.
Yeah. Well, and if I would appreciate it if she's ahead of him.
No, you don't want her to figure out what he is too early.
No, part of me wants her to be part of it from before the very beginning.
I don't think we're going to get an. I think we got that with Severo. I don't think we're going to get it again.
But what it does with Severo is open up the opportunity that, oh, he can recruit Rogue. Oh, he can recruit, let's say, Mustang, right? The truth starts to be something that can draw people in, and that's super appealing.
Well, that makes it's easier than just having to kill all the Colds, right?
Right.
We don't want him to, because by necessity, many of them are going to be his allies and on the way, right? That's how it has, which is already happening, but it has to continue. So yeah, so that was very enjoyable. Severo coming over, was that the best? I think for me that was the best thing. I also liked the them in power armor going through the windshield of the other ship and killing it, and then I was also pretty satisfied with the phone call. I'm opening all the weapons lockers to the lower castes. I'm sorry, the broadcast. I was pretty happy with that. Like, okay, we're using your revolutionary thing to win the strategic moment.
Oh, I'm just going to go ahead and say this. To me, that felt like a very Rohan moment.
Yeah.
It felt like something that you would write.
Yes, that's probably why I liked it. Here's Brown in a move I would call burnish. Burn right. Yeah.
So we'll keep on chugging ahead with the second half. I did want to ask you, like, how's your writing going, and you're on book 6 at this point, like, and Grim Dwarf is going. So, like, talk about what's going on with your writing and how's it going?
So I finished Hybrid Helix 5, and it was with my line editor. She takes like a month, so I had a month, and I had to catch up on Grim Dwarf. And then I got the thing that doesn't usually happen to me, where I got an idea that I couldn't get out of my head. For a whole nother thing, like unrelated. So I wrote like 5 chapters of that. And that was really satisfying. And I may finish that one of these days. It's sort of like a crime family, like kids, like a gang of like high school kids and crime gang on a world where everyone is sort of a criminal, because imagine a world where you have like little like stargates leading to, so humanity is across like 10,000 worlds, but the only way to get from one planet to another is through these stargates, and they all connect on this one city where there's no life. It's like a desert planet. There's no food, but to get from one gate to the other, all trade has to go through this city.
Okay,
People live there.
Everybody's got to get their beaks wet.
Yeah. But it's all like backstabbing and controlling territory, and that's the economy. The economy is controlling territory and taxing the caravans moving from place to place. So everyone's a crook. And then you have like the characters who like are crooks who, too, and I got this idea in my head I couldn't let go. And that doesn't usually happen to me, and I couldn't get back into the Grimdorf for the longest time. I actually was late with an issue because I couldn't get to it. That doesn't usually happen to me.
Ah.
So, but now I need to get more of the Grimdorf. I need to get ahead of the magazine. So I need a bunch of chapters in the bank, which I'm trying to get to now. And then I got to get 5, Hybrid Helix 5. I got it because I got it back from my line editor. So I have to go through all that and clean it up and get thank you, Donna. You know what? I shopped it around to some friends. I sent the first 5 chapters around to anyone on Twitter. It was like, I'll read it to see, like, is this worth pursuing? And pretty much everyone said yes. Okay.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it. I don't want to say it's hard to go wrong, but there's fertile ground in kind of like trading houses type of stuff. And if you turn trading houses criminal, then you open up some more opportunities. And as long as you got characters that you can dig into, let's go.
Yeah, I mean that's the thing. It's me writing teenagers, so I don't know, but I found the voice for the main character, and I found a good title I like, and I put in a lot of elements that people will not recognize because they come from very disparate sources. Right. I find that people like, what influences you, and it's always like freaking movies and comic books, and never like not. I guess nothing wrong with that inherently. Like anyway, so that it's been good, and I was pretty happy with how Hybrid Helix 5 turned out. I mean, it needs some work, but it came in the right length, and it did the work I needed to do in the final. And this is where the series is starting to change, because
she said hold off for your big extra bonus reveal and let that happen in 5.
Yeah, but we're getting to where Rohan is becoming is acknowledging that he needs to be proactive. So he's sort of worked through some of his trauma and some of his hesitance, because he should. He's a reasonably healthy, intelligent guy. He's going to work through, and he had a couple years to like get his head straight and start to realize, if I don't fix things, who will? And instead of, and I don't like to hear it's like, well, I don't want to, take it on my shoulders. Who am I? I'm like, yeah, you can get away with that for a few books, but at some point you're like, no, I'm clearly I have to take care of things. So he's going to be a little more proactive. Will people all enjoy that turn? I don't know, but it was what I always intended for the series.
I think they'll enjoy it more than him staying as he was.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, there's a part of me that always thinks I could have written 20 Wistful Ascendings where like a different thing shows up at the station and he's got to like face it and figure out how to stop them, and the murder of the week or something. But that was never the story of the series. That was never the series I wanted to write.
Well, because you wanted to tell a story about him. You didn't want to tell a series of stories that involved him. Right.
So the whole plan was for him to become, from instead of I'm reacting to the shit that happens that comes to my doorstep, I'm the one who knocks, right?
I
actually never saw that scene, but I've heard the expression enough. I didn't watch Breaking Bad.
Was there a reason that you didn't watch Breaking Bad?
Yeah. I was a high school chemistry teacher.
Okay.
And I identified way too much with what's his name in the first season?
Walter,
because he felt too much like me. And when things went poorly for him, I just didn't want to watch anymore.
Ooh, like it hurt too much?
Yeah. He was too much like me. Like the way his wife treated, not necessarily me now, but the me that I've been. So
the you that you were.
Yeah, it's like a trigger. Watching like a chemistry teacher dealing with a room full of shitty kids, I just couldn't. I'm not. not saying it's a bad show, right? I'm not saying it's like, oh, it wasn't good at all. It just didn't work for me. I might watch it one of these days. Like I might try it again. But how's your writing going? How's Rooker Flynn? Oh, sorry.
No, I'm luckier than I deserve to be. It's going better than it ought to. I'm just so tired. It's like 18 straight months of 4 hours a night, and I'm not fast. And I'm satisfied with it. Like finally the first book is at the point where it's like, yeah, people can read this and I won't feel sad. And I feel like all the emotional beats are in and it works and yay. But I'm out of juice, man. I'm out of gas.
Here's the thing you did that I find super interesting, and I'm not in any way implying it was a mistake. No.
I will.
So by writing 3 books and then releasing them, you have sacrificed the charge and the dopamine hits you would have gotten from releasing books 1 and 2. So
Yeah.
there would have been interviews, videos, public reviews, people tweeting, just finished Rooker Flynn 1 and can't wait for book 2, right? Those are the dopamine hits. Those are the things that pump us up. The Goodreads review, 5 stars, this is so cool. And you basically said you're gonna write 3 books in a row without that feedback. I don't
Dopamine hit.
forget the creative feedback that actually would have informed your writing. I'm not even talking about that. I'm talking about the juice
Yeah.
of that.
Because the creative feedback I'm getting.
Yes.
Right?
Right.
I've got 6 people that have read it at this point and had the opportunity to give me notes where I had an opportunity to address them.
And you're gaining the ability to edit book 1 with full knowledge of how book 3 went because you're not releasing it before.
Right.
And I'm not saying that's a bad trade-off, but like on a personal level, I can only imagine that's really hard because you're not getting that. I don't know the way to put it. Right? You're not getting that charge.
It's not like mowing your yard. You cannot see the results of your labor.
Yeah.
Right. What I wound up doing was writing this Ryan Cahill size thing. And by the way, I have more and more respect for him every single day because it took me 16, 18 months to write, a 250,000 words, and he'll do that in 8 months. And I'm just like, you're a god. But yeah, and I think the way I write, the way you write is very logical, and the way I write is very emotional, and it takes a long time for me to get where I'm going because I gotta get a layer of crap down and then start building it into something. So I just think it's taking a long time. I'm looking forward to having it out. It ought to be out. Arcs ought to go out by May 20th.
Wow.
Because I said I would release it in the spring, and the last day of spring is June 20th.
Are you arcing all 3? Are you giving out like here's an arc of the trilogy?
No, I'm just gonna do one and get a print. The thing is I got to do the audiobook. So Sarah gets done on the 26th, and then I do the audiobook until like maybe from there to the 10th. I'll have like not quite 2 weeks with it, and then it's got to go to the proofreaders. So because I'm going to change the book based on what I hear aloud, so I got to wait for after that until it goes to the proofreaders, and then after that it's just like, okay, print, go, okay, ebook, go.
I was all set to get audio of Return of the Griffin, and my narrator had a health scare and some financial difficulties, and he is not doing audiobooks for the near future, maybe ever. Now it's like, do I wait? Do I find a different narrator for book 2? But a lot of people are getting a lot of feedback. Oh, we don't like narrator changes. And I'm like, I don't know that there's a choice. So
I'll do it. I'll be your Huckleberry.
At least get a British guy to keep the accent consistent. The audio for Wistful, get a different narrator. Yeah, I'm probably gonna get a different narrator. I don't know. I just haven't committed to any of it yet.
Well, you can't wait around. Giago had this. Ooh. Okay, I'm going to continue forward. I hope I'm not giving any secrets away. Chiago had a problem with one of the people that helped him with getting his books out. What became unavailable, and he waited around for a long time for them to be available, and it really just kind of jacked up with the schedule and what everything was look like. And you've done such a good job of continuing to churn and getting them out and getting them out. I don't see any reason to slow down. You don't need thematic purity across the board and everything needs to be the same. Nobody's going to be mad at you for having a different narrator.
I'm trying to get Hybrid Helix 6 out this year, this calendar year. I should be able to. I mean, like late, you know, like Halloween, Thanksgiving, not like sooner. But
Is five going to come out in May, June?
It'll be later because of the cover.
The cover.
Ideal. It'll be ready in May or June, right? It'll be ready by the end of May, like no doubt. Because it's already back from line edits. What I have to do now is clean up the language, like the sentences.
Yeah.
I'm probably not even going to add I'm probably not even going to add 5 pages to the whole thing.
Nope.
Much less, right? This is where I am in the project. That's done. That's basically just work.
Yeah.
So then, but the cover won't be ready till July but I'm going to use a different cover artist, I think, for 6.
Hey, all right.
Because Chris can't give me 2 covers a year.
He can't give you 2 covers a year, and the 2 covers that he's going to give you are expensive.
Yeah, even if I had all the money in the world, he's just not going to do it. Like he's just busy with like other stuff that takes a higher priority. He probably charges more for.
Right.
I don't know. Or just it's coming from Tor and not me. You know.
Yeah.
Which, yeah. I don't really blame the guy, but.
Yeah, I would take the guy. I would take the company that offers me 12 titles a year. Yeah,
and you know, but yeah, he's literally doing like the interior illustrations for the fancy edition of like God Emperor of Doom, and I'm like, yeah, do that.
That's probably more important.
Anyway, so I'm gonna have a different cover for the 6, and then
It's good timing because it can represent the thematic change that happens within the character.
Yeah, that's the idea.
Can you just please do me a favor and have him on the cover with a cowboy hat? Because I really need Ryan and a cowboy hat. That makes me so happy.
I don't think there's a cowboy hat in book 6. I'll see what I can do.
Or a MAGA hat. Oh wait, that was book 2.
The mega hat.
MAGA.
I want to sell mega hats on my website. You know, Make Earth Great Again T-shirts.
That was so funny. Oh, well, thanks a ton for hanging out with me. I appreciate you always.
Thanks for having me. This is a blast as usual.
And I'm really glad I get to read because honestly, if I had not been reading it with you, I don't know that I would have made it through chapter 12, 13.
Having to read things makes it much easier for me to read them.
Yeah. Well, and having like an accountability buddy is really nice. And then being able to talk about you with them is double super cool because
I really enjoy these.
As always, you see lots of things that I don't.
It's 2 different perspectives. So that's awesome, man. Thank you so much. Thank you, Donna, for sticking around.
Thanks, Donna.
Everyone else that stuck around, appreciate you guys.
We appreciate you. And go buy all JCM Burn books. We want them all out of stock, out of print.
Pre-order Rooker Flynn.
No pre-orders available. All right, we'll see you in a bit. Thank you. Bye. Idiot.